12, the young adults of Region 8 would like to present our program of Living in His Omnipresence. Swami's grace and presence can be felt in every corner of the earth, touching a countless number of lives. We present to you a collection of stories and songs from various cultures and countries which relay the amazing omnipresence and incessant love of our beloved Bhagavan.
This is a story that takes place in India and is a true testament of Swami's powerful omnipresence and glory.
In the early 1980s, Satya Sai Baba called a group of 11 devotees together. They were highly evolved individuals who had been seeking to go deeper into their spiritual quest. Baba instructed them to go to the sacred Himalayan mountains near the holy shrine of Badrinath. Most of these devotees were in their 30s and were completely dedicated to leading spiritual lives. Per Baba's instructions, they made arrangements for their families as they were giving up all worldly possessions and attachments. Swami gave them a gift of a large urn or vessel called the Akshaya Patra, which means the never-declining and ever-full vessel. The urn was named this way because it spontaneously manifested all manner of food, fruits, milk, prasad, etc. Upon giving them the vessel, Swami told them, "Whenever I notice that you are hungry, the necessary food required by you will automatically appear in the container under my divine will." Sai Baba appeared physically to them, initially every month, to give them personal guidance and direction. He visited about every 6 months or so. These visits are clear examples of his omnipresence, since he was seen by devotees in southern India as well as in the caves of northern India. It is said that these devotees are frequently visited by saints and sages who live their lives roaming through the Himalayas. They come to partake of the vessel's prasad, and all have made reference to the great blessings this group have with Swami's personal spiritual guidance whenever they need it. As one sage said, those who have the good luck of having darshan of God incarnate, receiving his grace, and getting their daily food from the prasad patra given by him are really fortunate.
Maya
A story about Victor Kanu shows us how Swami's love has reached the farthest corners of Africa through SSSIO schools.
The incident happened in 1978, and when Victor saw Baba for the first time in 1980, everything became clear to him. It's fascinating to learn how Baba was silently and mysteriously drawing him to his physical form during those 2 years. In 1978, as president of the Spiritualist Association, Victor Kanu went to the Christmas Eve service. A play was being enacted, and the narration included an account of the birth of Jesus and his wonderful works. During her talk, the narrator said, "Do you know, there is a man living in India today who is doing exactly what Jesus did 2,000 years ago. His name is Sai Baba." This was the first time that Victor heard the name Sai Baba. His heart jumped. A man on earth doing the sort of things that Jesus did? Victor decided he needed to find out more about this man. After some searching, he finally came across Howard Murfitt's book, Sai Baba, Man of Miracles. Victor was consumed by what he read and read this book again and again and again. Victor got more books on Baba and learned that if you prayed to him, he would hear you and respond. So one night in February 1980, Victor prayed to him directly. It was about 11 p.m. He said, "Oh, Sai Baba, I don't know you, but from what I have read and have been told, I have no doubt whatsoever that you are God incarnate. My wife and I would like to be your devotees. If you accept us, please give me a sign." Victor prayed and then went to bed. At 2:30 a.m., he woke up, perspiring and shivering. Sai Baba had come into the couple's healing room and sat on the healing table. And when Victor turned around and saw him, he was afraid and cried, "Oh God, help me. Jesus, Sai Baba, please help me." Then he woke up. In those few hours, Sai Baba had responded immediately, and he had come in Victor's dream, accepting him and his wife as devotees. One day, in July 1989, when Victor and his wife Genevieve went to see Baba, they were called in for an interview. Swami told them, "Go to Zambia and spread my message of love through schools. Build a school." Victor and his wife had briefly been to Zambia before to conduct a workshop for 3 weeks, but that was all. They didn't know anybody there, but Swami was very clear. Go there and build a school and spread my message of love. Genevieve was a little bewildered and asked, "But Swami, where are we going to get the money from?" Baba said, "Sell your house and use that money to build a school, and if that is not enough, borrow from the bank." Being a Christian, Victor was reminded of the story of Jesus Christ and the rich man who went to him and said, "Master, I have done this and that. What else can I do to redeem my life?" And Jesus said, "Sell all that you have, give to the poor, and follow me." And as soon as Jesus said it, the man ran away. Victor thought about that and knew this was a test. If Baba wants to create anything, he can build it anyway. He can produce money and construct it. But why did he say the Kanus should sell their house? This is a test. Victor and Genevieve were very happy. In fact, they felt extremely fortunate that God should ask them. What was in the Bible was being repeated. And this is how the Kanus went to Zambia. They left London in December 1989. After packing all their things, they said, "We had some savings and insurance and cars. We sold all of these and even window curtains, pots and pans, because Baba said, 'Leave nothing.' In other words, he wanted us to cut the bridge." That's how we went to Zambia. We were in a strange country, but with faith in him, it took us 18 months to build this school. He said, "Build it all." It had 24 classrooms at the time. This was how we started the school in Zambia, the first SSSIO school outside of India.
Sia hamba kukayen cuencos, 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 sia Siya hamba kukayen cuencos. Siya hamba kukayen cuencos. Siya hamba kukayen cuencos.
Yen cuencos.
Siya hamba, hamba siya hamba. Hamba siya hamba kukayen cuencos.
Yen cuencos.
Siya hamba, hamba siya hamba. Hamba siya hamba kukayen cuencos. We are marching in the light of God. We are marching in the light of God. We are marching in the light of God. We are marching in the light of God.
Light of God.
We are marching, marching, we are marching. Marching, we are marching in the light of God.
Light of God.
We are marching, marching, we are marching. Marching, we are marching in the light of God. Siya hamba kukayen cuencos. Siya hamba kukayen cuencos. Siya hamba kukayen cuencos. Siya hamba kukayen cuencos.
Yen cuencos.
Siya hamba, hamba siya hamba. Hamba siya hamba kukayen cuencos.
Yen cuencos.
Siya hamba, hamba siya hamba. Hamba siya hamba kukayen cuencos.
And now, a story about one of Swami's Muslim devotees and his experience of Swami's all-knowingness and compassion.
Professor Abdul Razak Baburao Korbu was a reputed teacher of law. Swami himself handpicked his application from a heap of applications for teaching at the SSSIO Institute of Higher Learning as a visiting professor. Swami had not spoken even one word to him in the first year of his service at the institute. One evening during darshan, Swami walked straight to him and Professor Korbu touched his feet with tears in his eyes. Swami asked him, "How are you, sir?" "I'm all right, Baba." Before Korbu could say anything else, Baba interjected, "I know, I will see you later." On that Sunday evening after the darshan rounds, Swami walked up to Korbu in the mandir veranda and asked him, "What is your first name, sir?" "Abdul Razak, Swami." "What is the meaning of Abdul?" "It means a devotee, Baba." "What is the meaning of Razak?" Korbu could only fumble. Swami himself said, "Razak means Allah." "What is the meaning of Allah?" "God, Baba." "That is not quite correct. Allah means all high or above all. That is also the meaning of Parameshwar. Param, Ishwar. There is no difference. Allah and Parameshwar are one. He has manifested himself as this universe." Korbu's mind was filled with joy. Then Baba called him into the interview room. Korbu broke down when he was all alone with Swami for the first time. Swami established complete rapport with him instantly, saying, "Sit comfortably and do not cry. Why fear when I am here? You are Abdul, my Abdul, and I'm your Razak. You know it well." The very next day, during a second interview, Swami said, "I know that you have faith in me, but you do not believe in my power to create objects, isn't it so?" Professor Korbu was startled because this had been a question mark in his mind for almost 5 years. "Forgive me, Baba. What you have said is correct," was the professor's reply. "Your lack of faith in my power to materialize is genuine. It is good that you do not take anything for granted. Now ask me for anything, and I shall give it to you here and now. Take your time. Think and ask for anything you desire." Korbu thought for a while. Remembering that there was very few Muslims among his devotees, he said, "Baba, please give me such an object which embodies in it the entire universe, and also any symbol of my religion marked on it." Baba smiled sweetly and said, "Abdul, do you think you have placed an impossible request before me? Look at my palm. Do you see anything there? There is nothing either in it or behind it. You can verify it for yourself." He turned his palm upside down. The sleeve and his robe was above the elbow. He said, "Abdul, keep on looking at the center of my palm for some time. Within a few seconds, he could see a round, large object coming out of it. It was a shining ring which dropped on the floor. It had a crescent moon and a star engraved in gold. Not understanding, the professor pleaded Swami to explain. Swami laughed and said, "You were only born a Muslim, but you do not know anything about Islam." Baba further explained, "I have made this octagonal gold ring in with 9 precious gems embedded. Both of them represent the universe. In the middle of the gems, I have put the Islamic symbol of the crescent and the star and emeralds. These green stones also stand for your religion." Swami slipped the heavy ring on his finger. It was a perfect fit. Only after coming out of the mandir, the professor came to know from another Muslim devotee that the word Allah was inscribed in Arabic language at the center of the green emerald stone.
Subhanallah, 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 Subhanallah,
La ilaha illallah,
Muhammadur Rasulullah,
la ilaha illallah,
Muhammadur Rasulullah,
la ilaha illallah,
Muhammadur Rasulullah,
la ilaha illallah.
Muhammadur Rasulullah.
Subhanallah, 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 Subhanallah,
Muhammadur Rasulullah,
la ilaha illallah,
Muhammadur Rasulullah.
Subhanallah, 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 Subhanallah,
Next, a little bit about the country of Haiti.
The Haitians are a friendly, proud, and indomitable people, happy and full of spirit, despite living in abject poverty. Little did they know, on January 12, 2010, their faith and resilience would be put to an extreme test. On this day, A massive earthquake measuring 7.0 on the Richter scale struck the nation. The quake's epicenter was at the nation's capital in Port-au-Prince, which is also its most populated city. The country was devastated, with over 250,000 casualties and 1.5 million people left homeless. The SSSIO organization moved quickly to answer the cries of countless thousands in desperate need of food, water, shelter, and medical care. Young adults have been an integral part of the Haiti relief teams, being amongst the first team of responders. As of January 2014, SSSIO volunteers continue to serve the poor and deprived in Haiti, even after many other relief organizations have left the country. Food and cooking supplies are brought in from the nearby Dominican Republic, and with the combined efforts of volunteers from North, South, and Central America, over 3,000 meals a day are served to hungry men, women, and children living in tent cities. Swami's grace has brought miracles both big and small to Haiti. One Tuesday morning, a small 4-year-old boy asked his mother for permission to go to the SSSIO Operations Center. Normally, the Operations Center meets on Thursdays, so naturally his mother said he could not go. The small boy put up a big fuss. Finally, after giving in to her son's pleas, his mother called Shanti, the SSSIO volunteer in charge of the center, and asked if the boy could go. Luckily, Shanti said it was all right and that he would come to pick up the child himself. Upon arriving at the center, the boy sat by the altar and began chanting the Gayatri Mantra, while Shanti left to go supervise a group of volunteers preparing food for the relief camps. Suddenly, they all heard the boy scream. Fearing that the boy might have injured himself, they went running inside to see what had happened. But when they got there, the boy was not hurt at all. In fact, he was quite happy. He explained that Swami had walked out of the photo on the altar, sat in his chair, and listened to the Gayatri being chanted. Swami then told the boy to keep practicing, and then he walked back into his photo.
This is the story of a path of love and hope. It's a story of Baba's love, which took place in Argentina.
Volunteers from a SSSIO center in Buenos Aires started a service project for children who lived on the streets near the center. The volunteers befriended these children and invited them to the SSSIO center so they could eat, shower, and wash their clothes. A teacher trained in SSSSIO education and human values also taught them how to read and write. The volunteers eventually learned more about the circumstances that negatively influenced these children, such as delinquency and robbery. The SSSIO volunteers resolved to take these children away from the streets, giving them a comprehensive solution to their problems. They rented a house for the children to live in, and they worked closely with the kids as they readjusted to society, giving them a vocation, and especially a new outlook on life. During one of their sessions together, one of the SSSIO devotees asked a child to dig up some dirt to plant some flowers. While doing so, the child discovered something bulky in the earth, and when he opened it, he saw that it contained 12 kilograms of pure gold. He called one of his companions, and the first idea in their minds was to run away with this treasure. But their human value teachings kicked in, and their consciences told them that they should give this fortune to the SSSIO volunteers who were working with them. Following Bhagwan's teaching to obey a country's laws, the SSSIO volunteers announced this finding to the authorities. After reviewing the facts, a judge declared that the gold belonged to the group that found it. This meant that the gold was the property of the SSSIO group, and they knew exactly what to do with it. They wanted to purchase a house to continue their work with the children, one that was in much better condition than the one they were currently renting. Seeking Swami's divine approval and blessing, members from the SSSIO organization traveled to India, using some of the money from the gold to bring one of the children with them, who had developed a strong devotion to SSSIO. A few days after their arrival, Baba gave them an interview, and with his infinite love, he told them that it was he who put the gold there. Then Swami granted his approval for purchase of the new house. And this is how this love circle is closed. Swami teaches us that if we take one step towards him, he takes 100 towards us. In fact, he is the one who fulfills our hopes when we work with a pure heart, without any personal interest, while trying to follow his teachings. Swami shows us that he is always behind us, close to us, and helps us to achieve self-realization through love. This is the path of love, miracles, and hope that the Lord offers us to redeem our lives.
Faith in Swami lays the foundation for the following story, where Swami's love and healing spans thousands of miles to help a young devotee in Australia.
Pearl Harrison, a retired secretary of the medical faculty of Sydney University, agreed to type in the manuscript for Howard Murfitt's upcoming book. This appeared to be a chance meeting at first, but Swami had much more in mind. Though not very religious herself, Pearl's typing work exposed her to the wonders of Sri Sathya Sai Baba for the first time. Mayan, her 9-year-old granddaughter, sometimes helped by reading aloud the material to be typed. While the grandmother was somewhat skeptical about the miracles, Mayan accepted the truth of them without question. The first few chapters of the book had just been completed when Mayan was taken to a doctor for a blood test because she was looking very pale and bruising too easily. The results were alarming. Mayan's disease was diagnosed as aplastic anemia, in which the bone marrow fails to produce the vital blood components in sufficient quantity to maintain health and life. A specialist said that the only treatment was the use of certain drugs which have very severe side effects, such as stunting growth, causing puffy obesity, and hair loss. The specialist said that the child would need constant blood and bone marrow tests to monitor her condition. But the very worst aspect was that, even after going through all this and suffering the terrible side effects of the treatment, Mayan could still not be cured. The drug treatment would only prolong the child's life for perhaps a few years, but would have no effect in the long run. Moreover, the child could not live a normal life even for the short time she was kept alive. Then, Pearl thought about the Psi miracles she had been typing. She thought about her complete lack of faith in religion, considering herself Jewish by tradition, but not by observance. She began to recall the miracles that Sai Baba had performed, and began to think perhaps there was something real in all that she had typed. Howard Murfitt and his wife, Iris, were most concerned about Mayan, and said they would come over immediately, and Mayan could start taking vibhuti. Howard asked Mayan earnestly, "But you must really believe in the power of Sai Baba." She replied without hesitation, "Oh, but I do." She said it with complete faith. All of the family members agreed to allowing Mayan to take the vibhuti. However, the immediate question was, should Mayan take the prescribed drugs? The Murfitts knew of many cases when Swami would cure through drugs while preventing any side effects. Yet sometimes he would use only vibhuti and no drugs at all. The only way was to ask him.
A devotee went to India, taking a photograph of Mayan and letters to Swami. She was granted an interview, and she asked an important question about treatment. She said that when Swami looked at the photograph, his face had become very soft and compassionate, and he said, "No, no drugs, just vibhuti and water twice a day." The family wondered if they should follow these instructions, but Mayan said, "If Sai Baba said I should not take the drugs, then I won't take them." So after just 3 weeks on the treatment, she went off them and took only vibhuti. She was putting complete faith in the divine power to someone no member of the family had ever seen except in photographs. The Harrison home became a second center for bhajan and study groups in Sydney. The grandfather converted his big garage into a Sai temple, and a beautiful shrine was erected by some devotees. The temple acquired a sacred atmosphere, and the size of the group began to expand, with people coming from distant places to attend the bhajans. Mayan herself became one of the regular bhajan leaders. Mayan's health was showing a steady improvement. The family had decided not to tell the doctors immediately that she was not taking the drugs. She was taken to the hospital for tests every 2 weeks, and the medical staff were delighted and perhaps surprised at the results. There was a dramatic rise in her red blood cells, a good improvement in the white cells, and the platelet count was slowly creeping upwards, about 10,000 at each test. However, they still had a long way to go to reach normality. The doctor advised bone marrow graft from Mayan's sister, saying it would help Mayan fight the disease. Again, a devotee went to India and asked Swami if this operation should be performed or not. Swami replied that the child was getting better and would soon be completely well. There is no need for an operation, he said, so no operation was performed. Several months later, Mayan's blood tests had shown her platelets as even better than before. In fact, 174,000. Early in the next year, Jack and Pearl Harrison took their 2 granddaughters to India to thank Swami for the miraculous cure. This divine healing across the thousands of miles had worked steadily, taking nearly 2 years in effect to complete. From being a family without religion, the Harrisons became one with a true spiritual religion, the religion of love. While blessing Mayan with the cure of the body, the divine hand had touched many other souls in Australia as well. All were grateful in the Lord for this great miracle.
More precious than silver, Lord.
And now, one of our own YAs, Anita, will share one of her own personal experiences about Swami's omnipresence in her life.
When I'm asked about how I came into Swami's fold or how I learned about Swami, I wish I had an answer as interesting as the stories that you heard today. But the answer is that I was born into a Sai family, so my answer is genetics. I just have the Sai genes. So I always wonder, man, I want these stories of dreams. I want the stories with the rings. I want to see Vibhuti in my house. I wish I had these stories. But my parents always remind me that, Swami himself has said that he is with us, around us, behind us, and in us all the time. You just have to identify his presence in your daily routine and not wait for miracles to happen. So I would like to share something of that front with you so that in your daily routine, you can feel Swami's presence on your way to work, in traffic, when you're mad at your boss, all those kind of situations. So in my home, mom, dad, and I, we're all religious, right? But my mother is like a milestone ahead in her trust with Swami. For her, Swami is everywhere in everything. She turns the stove off in time and the milk doesn't boil over. She thanks Swami for it. She takes the bus in time. She thanks Swami. She comes back home in time to see her TV show. She thanks Swami to be home on time. So I didn't have a word for this because it's not fair to call her just religious. So I call her, she's religiously romantic. She sees Swami everywhere. My father, on the other hand, is an engineer, and I grew up to be a biologist. So we are the religious rationals in the house, and terms like omnipresence did not really sync very well with us in the beginning, because in science, we either prove ourselves right or prove others wrong. That's how we work science, right? So we need proof anyway. So we have this very fun banter in my home. Let's say we're on a driving trip. I'd be like, Amma, you have to actually hit the brakes on the car. Swami won't do that for you. And she'd very sweetly say that, no, Karna, if you have the trust, he can still do that for you. You just have to build that level of trust. And then I began driving in LA. So I know that can be true. So when if you have a situation where you're dodging an incredibly huge truck and you're like, oh my God, am I going to make it? Am I going to make it? And you do. And you're like, thank God. It's actually Swami who has a plan for you. So these are small things that we sometimes miss out. We say, oh, we got lucky today. Oh, things happen according to my plan. But it's actually Swami who's unfolding his plan for you. So when I came from India to the US and I had to settle down with new friends and everything was new here, I think I began identifying his omnipresence more in small little things like this. And sometimes he comes in the form of discipline that he holds so close to himself. There's one time my mom lost her diamond ring and she was begging Swami, oh my gosh, I need to find it, please find it for me. And she found it only after it pricked her in her foot, and Swami was just like, you have to be careful. Sometimes you just know that you deserve the punishment for the mistake that you made. That also is Swami in his omnipresence, showing it to you. And sometimes, especially because I was new here and there are new people and not someone who I grew up with, I've seen Swami come in the form of a family or a friend. This one time last year, I had planned a trip with my friends for a farewell to Las Vegas. And on the same day, I get a call from Supriya, our YA rep, who said, hey, there's bhajan workshop on Saturday, the exact same day as the farewell. So I was in this dilemma, oh my God, do I be a good friend, go to this farewell, do I do the bhajan workshop, what do I do? I woke up and I just felt, all right, bhajan workshop. So I went to the bhajan workshop. Still in the back of my mind, I knew, oh, what's going on in Vegas? I want to know what they're doing right now. So I enjoyed the bhajan workshop, of course. And then on my way back, I called my friends, what are you guys doing? They're like, hey, we got robbed today. All of our belongings are gone. And I got goosebumps that day. And I was like, I had a change of travel plans because Swami had a plan for me. And I identified that whatever happens is because he has planned it for us before we even know it. So I want to just share with you all that maybe miracles are great, Vibhuti is great, but if we wait for that, we miss out his omnipresence in forms that are very simple in a way that you know that he's there, but he won't make it very obvious, but he's around us. So I'd just like to end this thing by saying that as a kid, when you learned about gravity, you're like, what is gravity? You question it, and then you learn about gravity, and then you test it by dropping a ball multiple times. And now you know it's there, and now you never question it. The same thing with Omnipresence too. You question it, you doubt it, you check multiple times, and you know it exists, and then you never question it. That's how it was for me too. So I truly learned that Swami lives by his word when he said he is around us, above us, below us, and within us. And he is also in Africa, in Europe, as we saw today, in Argentina, in LA, in Las Vegas even. And as YAs, we are really blessed to feel his omnipresence in our lives. It's like he's always following us. And today, we make a promise to stay in his path and always follow him.
I love him, and where he goes, I'll follow.